So, Christy and I met in Seaside, Florida with Coach Michael Burt. And here we are on the Never Broke Again podcast. And Christy and I don't know what we're really going to talk about, but it's going to be enlightening.
I know what we're going to talk about.
Because Christy says she can talk about anything.
I can talk about anything. So is it so just for a little background, is this live? Are we live right now?
Nah, we ain't live yet.
You're recording, but you're not live. You're not streaming to the outside. So we don't have any watchers that are gonna could post potential questions.
No, it's just me and you.
Me and you. All right, I like it.
You and me.
So the way that this kind of idea started of me to come in here and do this, jump on this podcast, I guess it's called a podcast, even though there's a camera, was last week when Andrew called me just talking about, personalities and he's like, I know this is your party trick. So he just had a couple of questions. And so we kind of went along down that path and we got to talking about just the different personality styles and how that plays into somebody's business and their ability to do in any, it doesn't matter what professional we're in sales, like real estate obviously is sales, and what you guys do is it's sales, I guess. I mean,
everything is sales.
You have and you're right, everything is sales. And that's why I think this is such an important skill set. I think they should teach it coming out of high schools, honestly, as people are getting ready to enter the workforce, as people are getting ready to do whatever they're going to do. I think it's such an important skill set, just even in college, even in interactions, even if they're not in the workforce yet. So, because it's relational, and pretty much any business is relational. I don't care if you're making widgets. It's still, if you're not on an island all by yourself, if you're interacting with anybody, it's all relational at some degree.
Mm-hmm. And you have a large team. What are the things that you see people coming in the real estate that they need to work on the most when it comes to building their businesses up?
Oh, wow. God, that is such a fantastic question. So Aaron is actually, my husband, Aaron, and Aaron, because, you met him as well down in
yeah, I woke up every morning. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm reading a book about something. I'm like, dude, it's like 2 a.m. Like, go to sleep.
So I have my coffee mug. So we normally, I need to bring you onto one of our podcasts, one of our own little streams that we do in the morning, because we always have a coffee cup. Mine says chaos coordinator. His normally says like early bird or hustle or let that shit go or something. We love conversational coffee cups. Mm-hmm. So, but what you just asked me is such a loaded question. And my answer to that and our answer, we talked about unconventional. My answer to that and our answer to that is probably not what most people think the answer is going to be as they enter into a new career. Mm-hmm. Real estate, for instance. I hope you can't hear my dogs. I lock them up in the cellar. They're not really in the cellar, but we live on a golf course. So when they see golfers going by or they see chipmunks or squirrels or whatever, they lose it. So hopefully you can't hear that back there. But the biggest thing that anybody going into sales needs to work on is themselves. Period. I don't care how prepared. I don't care how great their resume is. I don't care if they have lived this life to the point of being employee ready, like ready to get out there and workforce ready. They need to work on themselves because, and that's kind of where our coaching, like what we work on with agents when they come into the real estate industry, is we want to work on you first, because if we can help you work on you and become the best version of you, Josh or Andrew or Aaron or Christy or whoever it is, and we help you peel back those layers of all those years of living by someone else's standard, by someone else's, this is what you're supposed to do. This is who you're supposed to be. This is the job you're supposed to have. This is the person you're supposed to marry. All those filters, those layers of the onion, you talk about peel back the layers of an onion. Like when you try to get to what is somebody's why, what is their purpose, that's what we try to do. And we have so many people that come. So just to be honest, and I may have told you this, I love real estate. Let me tell you why. Real estate is like the land of misfit toys. I'm not kidding you. We are literally like the island of misfit toys because everybody has such a phenomenal story, and real estate is one of those fields that you can come into and your story can literally build your brand. So, and that's where the personality piece of it comes in, is everybody is not for everybody. Like every single client out there is not for Christy. Christy's not for every client out there. Christy's not for a lot of clients out there. And there's a lot of clients out there that aren't for me because you, like, just like we talked about the other day, Josh, with your personality, and we jokingly said, and we'll get on the personality piece of it in a minute, but we joke about certain personality styles could almost be considered like serial killers, right?
Yeah.
And it's really not that. It's not that we really think you're a serial killer. What's behind that is that is the style of personality. Somebody who is truly an expert in people can relate to anyone and get anyone to trust them, which is why we talked about the whole serial killer thing, because that's how most of them become what they become, because they are so unsuspecting. People trust them. They feel good. They feel comfortable around them. Their vibe is one that can almost connect with anybody. And that's truly when somebody can understand who they themselves are. Like when I recognized we're all innately wired a certain way. We just are. Like some people have to have all their shoes in boxes in the closet in order, descending by darkest to lightest. You know, they store their winter shoes away and bring their summer shoe boxes in, and then they leave them in there. And some people have gotten rid of the shoe boxes and taken the end of the box off and put it in the end of a little plastic Rubbermaid crate that they put in there. And then there are some of us that you walk in the closet and you're like, where is that other shoe at? I know it's in here somewhere. That may or may not be what my closet looks like. My husband's closet may look like one of the previously described closets. So everybody is wired to be a certain way. And I think the biggest thing that I would say to people, and we do say this to people, help us get back to your best version of you. Because, which you just got married, by the way, congratulations again. Our text message was pretty funny the other day about, like, I didn't even know you've been married. You've been married for like 3 months. And now I know I didn't get invited to the wedding because I'm I'm not a very good touch baser, right? So, but the marriage and having kids and going from being a carefree teenager where we did stupid stuff and have some great stories to tell from it, or we didn't do anything because we were so scared of getting in trouble. And then those kids, because their parents like didn't give them the freedom to get out and do. And so they were told, you got to live a certain way. And then the real inner person, that inner like party animal inside of them goes nuts when they go away to college and they flunk out of university right off the cuff. So all these different things, because we're told we've got to be a certain way as children. What is it? And you don't have kids yet, but anybody who's got children, we always tell our children, you can be anything you want to be, right? You can grow up and you can be anything you want to be. Kids dream of being a police officer or being an astronaut or being the president of the United States or whatever it is they're dreaming of. And we tell them you can be anything until it becomes reality and it's time to get a job. And those same parents that were telling your kids, be anything you want to be, play pretend, play dress up, get out there and just do what you want to do. Then they come down and say, you got to get your head out of the clouds and get to reality and get yourself a job that's going to make you some money. I don't want you to, some of the greatest stories I've ever, like some of the greatest speakers that I've heard have been people who truly went against, and it took them a long time to do that, went against what their parents told them they had to do and went out there and did. So one guy spoke, he did some movie and it was like they're like a professional, like, they go and they climb the big high mountains. What are they called? They're like professional. What's the word for it? They're like adventurers. I'm just going to use adventurers, but they literally have a name. Like and he would take his camera out and he would video people like climbing these mountains and skydiving and doing all this crazy stuff. And his parents are like, you're never going to make any money on that. And he's like a gajillionaire now because his stuff went into the movies. Like it turns into that. So is that a long enough answer to that question of what do you tell people? I say, get to the point that you find out. And that's why every morning when you would get up and Seaside and you'd go down there and you'd be getting your coffee, and Aaron he'd already have been down there for like 3 hours reading books and drinking coffee. That's why, because the books really help us connect to who we are, who we truly are. I mean, unless you're reading junk books, and there's those out there as well. Scrolling Facebook, vague book.
Yeah, of course. I mean, with real estate agents, my view on real estate agents is that most of them, not all, most of them just go into it to make a lot of money. Is that your view as well?
So again, personalities comes into that. Yes, there is a large percentage of real estate agents that get into real estate because, and I jokingly say this, I'm like, you can't sling a dead cat in some areas without hitting a real estate agent. Seriously. Everybody has their license. It is the lowest cost of entry profession probably out there. You pay for a $350 course, you study for a state exam, you pay $180 to take the state exam, you pay $400 to join the board of realtors, $100 to join the MLS, and you're in business. $50 to get a set of business cards. You have a car already, and you're literally in business. And they don't realize how much work actually goes into doing it the right way. They really don't. A lot of agents get into it for that very reason. They're like, I want to make money. I want to, I bought a house and I saw that my real estate agent walked away with a check for $12,000. And I was like, holy crap. Like I could do that. Here I am, I'm a school teacher and I'm making twice that in an entire year. And this agent spent total of 5 or 6 hours total altogether on my transaction, and they walk away with a check for $12,000. Why can't I do that? And they could. But a lot of people, again, the personalities, real estate, that check for $12,000 might be the only check that agent sees for 4 months, which means they're making $3,000 a month. So they don't see all the times, especially in this market that we're in currently. Buyers agents are working their tails off because the inventory is just so low that when a property hits the market, it's like there's 15, 20 offers on it within 24 hours. And so those buyers agents are like, it's almost like getting drawn in a lottery. You just have to enter in a bunch of different lotteries to try to get drawn and hope like crazy they pull your card one time. But it's and a lot of agents look at that, and that's not the way we look at it, because I do believe that there's truly a skill that you have, and sometimes that skill is a natural ability to be able to do what we do as real estate agents. And then you have to fine tune. Your natural ability starts it. And if we can help people identify what that natural what that natural bend is in them, and then we build their skill sets around that. And so many real estate companies try to give you a one size fits all approach to selling real estate. And that's just not how it is. It's all relational. Every bit of it, even your own business is relational. So yeah, you do see a lot of people who get into it just to make a lot of money. And then they get out of it super quick because they're like, yeah, I thought that's how that was going to work. And that's not really how that works at all.
Yeah. So what is the separator between a good real estate agent and an average real estate agent? What's like the difference that you're seeing out there?
Every bit of this centers around the same exact conversation. Is about, honestly, I think it's the intention. I think a real estate agent's intention behind their approach to the business and their approach to serving their clients is what truly separates not even just the good from the average, but the good from the great. I mean, good is the enemy of great. And I truly believe that people who focus on helping others and who look at it from an outward mindset, and they have that outward mindset of truly just being a dot connector, being a person who helps this person move their ball down the field, help them achieve what they're trying to achieve without looking at themselves. So right now, and I'm just going to give you this as an example. Right now, we've got Oh, I don't know what happened there. Oh, my phone was trying to come onto my thing. Sorry about that. Let me put that on airplane mode so it doesn't come through. My phone, we've got a situation in the real estate industry as a whole right now where there is a big class action lawsuit over commissions. And it's a class action lawsuit that happened, I think it started maybe in Montana or Missouri, but it is being, basically it's sellers coming back and suing because they were told they had to pay. This is the gist of the lawsuit. They were required to pay the buyer's agent, that they were required to do it, that it wasn't an option. Okay. It is optional. It is always optional. Okay. It is always optional. Like for me to charge as a listing agent, if I'm representing a buyer, it's no different than the listing agent being required to pay the person who's going to be again on the other side of the deal from them. You're being required to pay their agent's fee to negotiate against you. That's no different than you're suing me, and as part of your ability to sue me, you are required to pay my attorney's fees. It's not how that works. It's just not how real life is. So it has been customary in the real estate industry, and I do believe it's a good practice. I don't believe it's a poor practice. I believe that the poor practice is advising sellers that they have to do something that they don't actually have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's where the relationship piece of it, because I do believe in, and I use this term front pocket money. Okay. And by front pocket money, this is what I mean. People think the general consensus out in the world for a lot of people is real estate agents have the reputation, unfortunately, they're kind of right there balanced up with used car salesmen, sleazy attorneys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because if they don't value their own piece of this puzzle, real estate is one of those. How many people do you have that come to you just in your what you do? How many people come to you to invest money that they've made as a result of real estate?
Not many.
They're not coming to you and investing money.
Most of it's from well, the thing is with people in real estate, Christy, is people get into real estate and it's like, oh, real estate, I need to only do real estate. So they take real estate money and they put it back into more real estate. It's very, very few people sell a house and then invest it in the stock market, because most people are real estate people or stock market people. The people that I've seen that are
That's
the most
fair.
successful do both.
Well, and that's what I was going to say was I'm like, because that's kind of like my surprise. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because typically people that have the ability to do a lot in real estate, it's because they've also taken money and invested it. Like you're not going to sell a house and drop $600,000 just sitting in a regular bank account. You're going to put it somewhere and you're going to let it work for you because they may not buy it right away. Like they may not buy something else right away, or they may not even be at the point of wanting to buy something else right away. This might have been an investment that they made that now they're just cashing out that investment to have some, whatever it is. Most people don't just go drop it like in a standard money market account. They would typically invest it in the stock market or in, annuities or something. But because I think that in real estate, again, I'm talking about not necessarily the income from real estate for a real, like the commission income. I'm talking about the return on investment for real estate. A lot of people, even people who have made a ton of money in real estate investment and they're rolling it back into real estate. Sometimes that perception is that the agent is an unnecessary layer, an unnecessary piece of the equation. And we see this a lot right now because just about, and it is true, there is a certain degree of truth to it. Just about anybody can put their house online for sale by owner. They've got all these different, resources for owners to do for sale by owner. I don't like to use the Z word, but the Z word's one of them. But even that has changed a little bit in very recent history as far as the ability to really do that. You can almost put a sign in the yard right now, put it online, and get a contract.
Yeah, my dad did.
Getting that contract to the closing table is a completely different story. And honestly, that's where right now my role as broker, because and we didn't really talk about this up front for the people who are watching, but my role and Aaron's role in our company is we did both have very successful real estate businesses of our own, even before we met and came together. Those businesses, can you hear any background noise coming from the background through my AirPods?
It's a little,
bit,
but it's not anything crazy.
I could just let them go run on the golf course, but then the neighbors would get mad, so I can't do that. So we had very successful personal real estate businesses before we got into really expanding. And I owned my office in Georgia, my first EXIT Realty office up in Hartwell, Georgia, since 2006. And then in 2018, when we met and came together and started really expanding our operations, that was when we really pulled back on the personal real estate piece of it, us having our own personal real estate business, which we had both been in since 2005, even through, like, we got into it just in the nick of time for the market to crash, right? I mean, we really hadn't even gotten going good, and boom, the market starts tanking. So, and we both did very well even through that entire time. I was nothing but real estate from 2005 forward. We got into more of the coaching, growing agents, mentoring agents, being more of the broker owner, business development role, kind of rainmaker piece of it. And we didn't have teams. We just had agents that came to work with us, and we helped focus on developing those agents. So in that piece of being able to help an agent build their business as they get into real estate and build an income from it, I've seen all those investors or even sellers who think, oh, well, I'm just going to sell it myself because I'm going to save that 6%. Like, my house is a $300,000 house. My wife's a school teacher. 6% of that's $18,000. That's a lot of money for us to pay out. I'm just going to sell this myself. And they sell it, and it goes under contract. Not even just the most recent. I mean, this has been happening for years. It goes under contract just like that. They gave me exactly what I wanted. Well, of course they did, because you just sold your house for $50,000 less than it was worth. Because they think this is such an easy industry. This is so easy. Anybody can do it. But if they don't have the knowledge behind what's really at the market and what is their home truly worth, they will cost themselves far more than what they're paying out in a real estate commission, just because it's not what they do every day. Like, I'm not going to go and invest money into something without referring to someone like you and getting advice and having someone advise me on, this is the way to do this. I'm not going to become a stock market person when I know nothing about the stock market. I'm going to go to someone who knows the ins and outs of it, who can help, who I'm going to trust to guide me. Because I'm kind of that person. As long as there's a net gain, like, as long as the person that I'm paying to do a job is bringing me at least that much value or more, what's the problem? I'm really, really good with that. So,
yeah, I mean, is there a way to streamline the commission structure for real estate agents that you've thought of?
A way to streamline the commission structure.
So, like, in the investment world, based on how much you invest, the fee structure decreases based on the size of the asset. So if someone brings you $10,000 or $10 million, you're not going to charge them the same percentage per se.
That's right. That's right. And so commission is one of those things, and it's a very touchy subject, because you literally can find yourself in an antitrust violation just like that. If you try to say to somebody, this is the only way a commission structure can happen, because that's called price fixing. You can't do that. I mean, it's literally an antitrust violation, and you can get in trouble really, really quick. And a lot of agents think you can't even talk about commission, because that's not true. Any company, our company, we have a policy. We have our own policy, but I don't go and meet with the Keller Williams and the EXPs and the Coldwell Bankers and those brokers and decide this is what we're all going to charge. That's the antitrust violation piece of it. It's the collusion, and it's the price fixing. That's not what you do. Each person, no different than when you do a job for somebody, you decide what you're charging them. As a broker, as the owner and the broker of the company, and it's our firm's policy, our company's policy, this is our policy on commission. And yes, we do have some modified commission structures for various pieces of property, and depending on what it is. And even beyond that, as an independent, because all of our agents for us are independent contractors. None of our agents are employees. I don't have a policy that says this is what you have to do. We have a policy that says, this is what we recommend. This is what the company's portion, because the little piece that we get, because our agents get a much bigger piece of the more they sell, the more of their commission they keep. Just kind of like, we're not a fixed, like you start the year at this and you end the year at this. Depending on how much they sell throughout the year, their commission change, even their splits change. But I tell them, this is what the company portion of it has to look like. What you choose to do with your portion of it, that's on you. That's completely up to you. We do give you that freedom and that flexibility to do that. So if somebody comes to them and they're a repeat client and they want a better deal on a commission, or they want to get a different rate, or they want to do something, the agents do have the option within our company. I can't speak for anybody else because I don't talk to other brokers about their commission policies. I don't know what that looks like. I just know what our Christy and Aaron Dwyer's company, our own little entity, and even within EXIT Realty, brokers do it differently because there is no standard way of doing it. So yeah, to answer your question, there is a way that you can adjust based on even property type. You can do it. Price point, you can do it. So
yeah. Is there anything you would adjust in the real estate world that you feel needs to be improved on currently?
Oh Lord! Now that could be an entire. We've only got 1 hour, right?
Just one.
It honestly would be that people, that agents would, and I say be who they are, but sometimes that's part of the problem, is they are being exactly who they are. That may be part of the problem. No, it's that people would truly look at their role in a real estate transaction as a helper, as a bridge builder. And I say this, it's like we're kind of a matchmaker. You've got somebody who wants a house. You've got a house that meets all the needs, or most of the needs, and they're just advising you, same way that you do when somebody comes to you and says, "This is what I'm trying to accomplish," and you look at all the aspects of theirs, and one person's situation is not the same as the next person's situation, and you truly look for each individual scenario, and you do your very best to help them come to their best outcome and their desired outcome. And for a lot of people, it's not even about for some people who are selling, it's not even about the money. It's not about getting the highest price. It's not about getting the easiest closing. It's not about, winning the thing. It's about, right now in the market we're in, because when things get so tight, I've seen on the MLS sometimes, and the MLS is the multiple listing service. For anybody that's watching this doesn't know what that is. It's just a cooperative. It's how all the listings get out online, and you can see them online on the different websites. Is agents think that because of the market like it is, there are certain loan types that that it's the only kind of loan that they can get approved for. Okay, because maybe it has nothing to do with anything other than, the wife. It's a young family. The wife's a stay-at-home mom. Certain loan types allow higher front end and back end loan, coverage ratios, like loan to debt to income ratios. And those types of loans, it's not because they've done anything wrong. It's not because sometimes it's just life happens, right? It's just part of where they are in their life. Sometimes it's a VA loan, okay? And these people are people who've served our country, who are utilizing VA is hands down the best loan out there for the veteran. It is a fantastic loan. And I truly believe that any veteran who is denied the ability to purchase a home based on the loan type that they are using, it's awful. But that's a whole nother story too. And a lot of times, because VA is truly, it's 100% loan. That doesn't mean that the buyer doesn't have the ability to put money down. Doesn't mean the buyer doesn't have the ability to pay cash for the property. They just are choosing to use their veteran benefit in this VA loan because it's a fantastic loan. I think that out there, I wish that agents, I'm still answering your question. I wish that agents would educate themselves a little bit more, and this is not a quick kill game right now. It's really not, because honestly, the ones that in this market right now, a lot of the offers that come across, they look really, really good, but it's kind of like the really nice car with the dead body in the trunk. because
Mhm.
they're just trying to make their offer look as fantastic as it can look to get it accepted. And then they're like, once we get it accepted, then we'll take off this really uncomfortable bra and we'll move forward comfortably with how you're comfortable, right? And that's not so. Advising, again, when people come to you, Josh, and they're asking you to advise them on something, agents truly need to be able to advise both buyers and sellers on the best scenario. And that's kind of one of the things that I would, if I could change that right now, is I think that if there's one thing I could change, it would be that agents would be more outwardly focused and stop trying to look for the quick kill, because we are seeing, like I told you, right now, desperate times call for desperate measures. Agents are putting offers out there that buyers really aren't comfortable with the kind of the non-official commitment. I'll get you comfortable by the time through the negotiations, through due diligence, through the appraisal, whatever. And it's making it tough. It is. It's making a really great industry really tough right now to be in.
Well, it's gonna weave out the bad people, don't you think?
Um, the bad people is a I don't know how you define that, because the the bad practices could be different than the bad people. It could be really good. I had a situation just last week where an agent who was in a transaction, a newer agent, literally getting advice from the agent on the other side of the deal, who made her feel comfortable. Again, it's all about personalities. This is a relational business. Made her feel comfortable that they were not giving her bad advice. She was a new agent. She was thankful for the help. I look at the contract and I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, no, we can't do this. This is a bad deal right here. Like, you
Mhm.
can't, this is not what we want to do on this transaction. And um it truly was a situation where that's not a bad person. That was a bad practice, right? They were given bad information. They were going off of
Kind of
something.
maybe like someone taking advantage of a situation.
100%.
Like, if you
100%.
if you have a powers, you can use it for, we got villains that have superpowers that are bad, and you have
Yep.
superheroes that are for good. So, I mean, you can
It's
have
all
powers and use
behind
them
the
for good or
intent.
bad.
It's all behind the intent. And that's what I was saying. I mean, even when we talked about the other day about the whole personality profile, right? I mean, like, when you're of the personality style that you're almost what we call a midline, where you can blend with anybody. You can literally get along with just about anybody. And you can connect and be able to do business, because you can, if your high D needs to come up because you're dealing with somebody who needs that, and they appreciate that, then your D can come up. If you're an I, if you got, I mean, it's just all the different styles. So yes, when somebody, and a lot of times your I personalities are very trusting, because they sometimes come across as not being super honest, but that's not really the case. It's just that they do change their mind a lot, and at the time that they said this, they meant it. And then down the road, they get different information. It's a different situation. And they say this, which contradicts something they said back here, but they mean it now too. They're not lying now either, because
Well,
that is
because I
now
mean,
how they
nothing
feel.
nothing is staying level. Everything's always changing, so you need people to stay on track. Like, the market 6 months ago is not the same market in real estate today. So you
Right.
need someone
Oh
that's
my
on the
gosh.
ball. It's like, "Hey, like, what you're telling me was true 6 months ago, but in today's market,
Correct.
that ain't gonna fly."
Correct. Correct. Or even different. I am a big proponent of open-mindedness. I am such a big proponent of open-mindedness, in that I can have a certain feeling about any situation, and I am open to hearing someone else's perspective that may have a differing or even opposing position or viewpoint of the same situation that I do. And I am very open to hearing what's behind their viewpoint, and even possibly adjusting my viewpoint some. Because I think that if a situation is a tree, depending on where you're what seat you're sitting in, you could be sitting in a chair underneath the shade of the tree, looking up at the tree, and you have a completely different perspective of that tree than if you're in the sky flying over the tree.
Mhm.
You know,
Or
so
how the weather is. If you're under the tree, it could be beautiful out. If you're out in the
absolutely.
streets, it could be hot as hell.
Right, exactly, exactly. So, I mean, I do think that that's important in in this industry as well as, but again, that piece of it, I think that the advice that other agent gave the agent that was representing the buyer in that situation, one of two things happened. They either gave them really, really bad advice because they didn't know better, or they gave them really, really bad advice and knew exactly what they were doing. Either way is not a good situation. It can have negative outcomes either way you look at that.
Yeah.
So
one thing I find interesting is most real estate agents work by themselves. And to wrap things up here, I feel like that you and Aaron, your husband, teamed up is very rare in the real estate business, because most people like to work by themselves. It's kind of like people who don't want to have roommates. Like, oh, that person left a dish in the sink, or they're not as clean as me, or me. So
right.
how has working with Aaron benefited you since making that adjustment in your real estate business?
So Aaron and I are honestly a not everyone, it is not cut out for everyone to do it the way we do, because we are husband and wife, we're business partners, and we do, and on top of that complexity, don't forget that we have 9 kids, 3 dogs, and 3 houses. Okay, we live in 7 offices. So you're right, though. A lot of times your real estate agent, their spouse does something different. Okay. And they want to have that separation. They want to be able to have their work life and they want to be able to have their home life. Um, and but the thing about real estate is, and that piece of it almost makes it hard. And I've told a lot of my agents this: when you are in real estate, if your spouse does not understand your business and does not understand, you're not going to go to work every day or go out working and showing houses and come home with a contract. It's just not going to happen. And they don't understand that because they think when you go to work, if they're in a salary job where they go and they get a steady paycheck, and it's not up to full commission, it's not up to, I was able to connect some dots today. I was able to get that bridge finished, be built today. Get it. And that, for a lot of real estate agents, is one of the biggest problems in the industry. It's not that they don't have the ability, but it's even when they're on this high and you're on this really high vibration and you're just going and going and going, everything's great. You come home and your spouse kills it. It's like a buzzkill, because they're like, what, like you may come home, even though you didn't get a contract, you may have had a really great day talking to people and you've got a lot of new prospects in the pipeline and all this, and you come home and your spouse doesn't get that piece of it and they just kill the vibe. And that level of the support that's needed by that significant other is so important. And I think that there's no chance that Aaron and I, either one, could do what we do without both of us being in this to the degree that we're doing it. I think that we are a very unique situation, because most husband and wife teams can't spend the amount of time we spend together doing what we do and not beat each other's throats. So we are super aligned in what we do. And it's like, there's so many days that we might have gotten up at 5:00 that morning and be pulling back in the driveway at 12:30, midnight, like midnight 30, and not feel like we worked all day. Truly. I mean, we were going and grinding, but it didn't actually feel like work, because we love what we're doing so much. And we see the impact that we're making on the lives of the agents in our company and the people that they're impacting. And it's about relationships. It truly is. And honestly, that's kind of what started us even getting on this call today, was just about the different personalities, and how do you mesh that in, and how do you make that work in a business. And Coach Burt, I mean, you even mentioned Coach Michael Burt was where we met when we were at a summit, a coaching summit at their property down in Watercolor. But Coach Burt and his wife Natalie, same thing. We each have our own lane, and sometimes we cross over into those other lanes because you have to, because you want to bounce something off of somebody. But we do try to stay in those lanes, but being able to do it together and understanding what the other one's doing. We could be sitting in the same house, like we're not now because he's in Tennessee and I'm in Georgia right now. But we might be in the same house all day long and never even talk, because he's doing his thing, I'm doing my thing, and then we come together at the end of the day and go, oh wow, you did all that today. I mean, just kind of with that end of day conversation. Maybe it's at dinner or whatever. But that is, I don't, but I want to, it's more than just your spouse. I do want to say this. Real estate is one of those businesses where a lot of people do feel they are on an island. And they've been told you have to do it that way. If you show your cards, if you don't hold your cards close to your chest, somebody else is going to steal your idea. They're going to steal your clients. You don't want to give somebody else a marketing idea that you've got. I don't believe any of that. We have built such a culture of collaboration within our company. And even yesterday, we were at a golf tournament in Athens, Georgia, that was for it was a charity golf tournament, great organization. And there were some agents there that were like, we can't say anything. And I'm just like, I don't get that mindset. I just don't get that, because I would share anything with anybody. If I feel like a rising tide lifts all ships is truly how we feel. And if we can say something that's going to improve another real estate professional, and we can share something that's going to improve somebody else's real estate business or game, it doesn't matter if they're in our company or not, that improves the industry. It improves the profession. So it's not, you're correct in saying people think they have to work alone, but I'm saying I would love to be able to bust that myth, because it is a myth.
Have you ever heard of the pie?
I've heard of a lot of pies. Give me the pie.
So a Yale professor, his name's Barry Nailbiff. He teaches a negotiation, brilliant guy. And he goes, so here's the example. Let's say Christy and I want to start a real estate company. Mm-hmm. Christy has double the amount of clients as I do. She has 2, I got 1. So most people think like, oh, I'm double as powerful as Josh. I'm going to get twice as much value than Josh in terms of getting paid. However, what you got to look is not Christy's 2 and Josh's 1, is what can they make together? So let's just say together we can make 3. Actually, I'll use 4 because it's even. So that actually means Josh has 3 and Christy would have 4. 3 and 4. So not 2 to 1. Because together we can get the 4 that we can't get. So basically we split that 50-50, and then that's how you need to determine how you run your business relationship. Not like, oh, I'm twice as good, so I'm going to get twice the amount.
Right. If you've read Covey, I mean Stephen Covey and 7, I mean the sum of the parts is greater than the synergy, the total pie is always greater when it comes together than the sum of the individual parts. Mm-hmm. It really is. The total, and we say this, we talk about this, if you take a candle, if you take 2 candles, this candle's burning over here and this candle's burning over here, and you put them together, that flame together is much bigger than those 2 individual flames on their own, because you feed off of one another. You feed off that energy of the other person. And that's why again, so many times, the piece that you said earlier, where you said most people get into the real estate business because they want to make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Not necessarily. That's not necessarily why they get into it. That's what a lot of people think. But then when they actually get into it, they realize it's not about the money at all. It's about the relationships. It's about, how do I feel when I come home every day and I know that I've helped somebody else? How do I feel when I've went and had lunch with 3 or 4 other agents in my company, and we talk about different ways to help other people and to get involved in the community and to do these and to be of service? That's how they feel. And so then people are like, wow, this isn't about the money at all. And it's not. The money is a byproduct of them getting out there and serving people. And you can't outserve. You just truly can't. You can't give of yourself enough to not get it back, because when you give of yourself, it comes back to you tenfold. Good or bad, it does. So I love it. I mean, again, I could sit and talk to you all day long about this, about anything. And I love whatever reach you've got out there. I love the fact that we were able to both not knowing each other November the 1st of 2021. And here we are doing a podcast June, whatever day today is. What is today's date? The
Yeah,
28th.
I didn't even want to go. I
You
didn't.
probably didn't. Do you know? So it's funny you say that, and I know you probably got to go because you told me you had something going on at 10:30. So we got to wrap this up quick. It's funny. Coach Burt literally just texted me while we're on this phone call. I just got a text message from Coach Burt. So I knew, and I don't know if you heard me and Aaron talking about the story because we got there super late that night. You probably got there early. I don't know.
Oh
We
yeah.
got there super late that night. We came in the same time that Sam and is it Jonathan? Sam and
Yeah,
Jonathan came in super late. We were fighting hell by the acre to get to that thing. I mean, Aaron literally almost just booked a flight. He was in Georgia. I didn't know this till we were already in watercolor. He was like, I literally got on delta.com and it was thinking about like just booking a flight to go back to Nashville because I knew we weren't going to Florida. There was no chance. And when he called me and he said, I think I'm just going back, what do you want me to do? And I'm like, look, if you don't want to go, don't go. I'm telling you, I'm going down there if nothing else, to put my feet in the sand because I need some ocean time. Seriously, like you're just in a different energy. And I said, but no, we're going because let me tell you what, there is something so great that's going to come out of this because anytime all the forces of evil are working against you and you're having to when you're literally having to go through hell sideways to get to something, something good's going to come out of it. Like just the obstacles, the harder you have to fight to get to something, the better it's going to be. And I knew that. And I told him, I said, I'm telling you right now, we are going to get there. I don't care if we come crawling in tomorrow, blood running out of our forehead. I don't care what it is. We're going to be there and we're going to be in this. And it was. And from that event, we came home that next week and we started a live stream with our agents to stay in contact because we do have 7 offices. Our agents don't get Christy and Aaron. I mean, they get us in person for sure if they choose to come and be at this meeting every other week in person in Georgia and every other week in Tennessee if they choose to be there. But they want a little bit of getting up and getting going. It's like that morning push. It's that morning coffee. And that came out as a result of that weekend. And we haven't stopped. We're still doing it. And our numbers in our company and the production and the efficiencies of our agents has taken off like I truly don't think could have ever happened had it not been for us being there. Now, the coaching piece of it, we're still working on that, putting together that coaching program that we want to do, but we coach our agents every single day. Like we're not, so there's that piece of it is still a work in process of what we really went there for that weekend. But there's been so many other fantastic byproducts that came out of just getting in that space. So we're going to be at another one. If it's the next one we go to, I'm going to call you and say, hey, Josh, you guys are going to be there. You got to be there. So it was great.
Probably not.
You'll be there.
I might have to fight if I can get it comped. If I can get it comped, I'll be there.
You're so crazy. You got anything else for me? Anything else? Anything else I can add
I feel
to?
like this is great, especially anyone out there who's looking to get in the real estate. Christy and Aaron Dwyer, D is in Delta, Wyer, definitely resources. Christy will talk to you for 7 hours if you wanted to, or 7 minutes, depending on your personality type.
If we talk just for 7 minutes, you're going to have to hang the phone up. Like, just hang up on me because I'll still be talking.
And if you do call Christy and you need a break, just set the phone down, go make a cup of coffee and come back and she'll still be talking.
So, and I'm going to add on to that. I got to have the last word. I am going to say this. If somebody's considering getting into real estate, even if they're not in our area, call me. I'm happy to share even the things for you to be thinking about as you get into the business. Just questions to ask. They don't have to come work for our company. But I'm really am an open book. We both are, and we want to help others improve. And the more we have those connections, even with those, they say competing companies. I don't think it's the biggest competition is between your ears. Seriously, is between our own ears. So I truly believe that if we can focus on helping others and helping others move their ball down the field, we all gain from that. So I appreciate you having me on here today. This has been fun. We should do this more often.
We can.